So, one of the things growing up in the 70s and being a Gen X kid that I went through, I don't know if anyone else went through this thing, was at school in our education. There was something called transactional analysis. It was called TA for short. And a lot of folks were doing this. It was the I'm okay, you're okay pop psychology thing that was the thing of the day. And a lot of our teachers, guidance counselors, got hold of these ideas and they decided to implement them in the classroom. And there was this book, TA for Kids, which our teachers got a hold of and started to teach us this stuff. Now, let me give you a little bit about this. Okay, there's 4 quadrants. One is I'm okay, you're okay, that's the best. I'm okay, you're not okay. You're okay, I'm not okay, and I'm not okay, and you're not okay. And it was which one are we in today? And the teachers would teach us this, and the fact that we were all 3 people. We had a parent, we had a child, and we had an adult, and the adult kind of looked. They taught us this. In grades 4, 5, 6. And that little blob thing that was called warm fuzzy, and it was it was a nice thing that people did, and that was the opposite was cold prickly. And so this was kind of part of our curriculum, how these things sort of came into the education system for Gen X. I was wondering, did anyone else go through this TA stuff, or was it just me and my class? And I kind of did a parody of it in my new book, To Refrain from Embracing. It's all set in 1977. It's about this Gen X kid who's 10 or 11 at the time, and what he's going through. So I was just going to read a little bit about from chapter 6 of this stuff that they tried to teach us, and how I'm using it in the book. I'm not okay, you're okay, Mrs. Woolley said. She was pointing to a chart that she had written, once again, in chalk on the blackboard. You're okay, I'm not okay was, she had said over and over, one of the worst things on the chart that anyone could possibly be. Mrs. Woolley was determined to plow this into their 10-year-old heads again and again before the school year ended. Josh sat, unconvinced, with his head resting on his left hand, wondering if all the teachers shopped at the same frumpy skirt and blouse store. He had been hearing this I'm okay transactional analysis junk for the last 9 months, and to be honest, Josh thought that Mrs. Woolley seemed obsessed with the whole TA idea, bringing up the principals in class at least once a day. What exciting new ideas we're going to learn, Mrs. Woolley had said that first day of school when she stood up in front of the class and held up the book TA for Kids, before drawing a chart on the blackboard. I'm not okay, you're okay, I'm okay, you're okay, I'm not okay, you're not okay, I'm okay, you're not okay. Throughout the school year, Mrs. Woolley made a point of using the TA principles for whatever particular drama was happening in the class that day. Diane Gibson steps on the class hamster and kills it. That was a perfect time to discuss how the entire class was in their judging parent state, calling Diane such names as murderer and stupid and creep. Robbie Esposito gives Mike Fry a bloody nose at recess. It was his emotional child state that did it. Whenever something ugly happened in class 4A, a glint of excitement would cross Mrs. Woolley's face, another chance to discuss her transactional analysis. Josh had his doubts about transactional analysis from the get-go. When he had tried to explain it to his father, to this TA stuff, to his father that Miss Woolley was so gung-ho about, you see, there's 3 parts to us, Josh had said to his father. You got a child, a parent, and an adult. Wouldn't that be nice? Our own personal trinity, his father had answered. Then his father just smirked, shook his head, and mumbled something about decadence, and finished by saying, I think it's all horseshit, but you can decide for yourself. My only advice to you, Josh, is don't believe everything they tell you. And Josh knew exactly who his father was talking about when he said they. It was anyone who was in charge, teachers, politicians, bosses, foremen, churches, especially churches. His father had even told Josh that Josh shouldn't blindly believe what his parents said either. How many fathers told that to their kids? Like his father, Josh thought transactional analysis was, for the most part, a bunch of horse shit. Especially all the jazz about warm fuzzies. Warm fuzzies were what Mrs. Woolley called it when someone did or said something nice to someone else. There was a drawing of a warm fuzzy on the cover of TA for Kids. It was an enormous fuzzy head with big smile and wore a pair of sneakers. Josh thought it looked like a bargain basement Sesame Street puppet. Josh didn't have many warm fuzzies. Not as many as he would have liked anyways. In transactional analysis, a cold prickly was the opposite of a warm fuzzy. Cold pricklies, according to Miss Woolley, had sharp spikes, angry faces with downturned eyebrows and clenched teeth. Unlike warm fuzzies, Mrs. Woolley didn't mimeograph cold pricklies and hand them out. That would have been good. Which was a bit of a disappointment to Josh. If someone in class had called someone a pig or an ass, Mrs. Woolley would say from her desk, "Is that a cold prickly I hear?" Josh thought if they were shamed and given a paper cold prickly, they might act better next time. Josh, for his part, did not give out too many cold pricklies, though he did from time to time feel completely justified to give a cold prickly or two. Besides, how could anyone expect anything else when they called him a shithead? If some kid in class tossed a cold prickly at Josh, they could expect to get one thrown back in their face, only bigger, meaner, and pricklier. To refrain from embracing TA for Kids. You can believe it. You can still get a copy. I'm okay, you're okay. And we are. Get a copy of To Refrain from Embracing anywhere. If you like stories about the feral GenX generation growing up, summer 1977. And that's it. And if any of you have any experience with transactional analysis, let me know. I can't be the only one out there, or the kids I went to school with, the only ones that had to go through this stuff. We can't be.